Hello everyone, I gently opened the door here, and it's time for yet another list video, and today it's technically a sequel to my Rarest Steam games list I made a few years back now, and well, if you don't see anything on this list that you think should be here, chances are that they're on that list, such as Stubbs the Zombie or the Saw video game. Anyway, let's just get straight into the list. Starting off the list is none other than The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This game is terrible, without a doubt. But another thing that is undoubtable is the fact that this game is worth a lot of money if you have a Steam key for this. Originally removed at the beginning of January 2017, this game has now shot up in price since, with keys going for this game for around £700, and whoo boy, let me tell you now, this game isn't even worth £10. Easily amongst one of the worst Spider-Man games, hell even one of the worst open world games out there, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is an embarrassment in every sense of the word. Hell, worse than the already terrible movie that the game is loosely based off of. Saying that though, it's still worth an insane amount because it's a pretty high profile game that was removed off of Steam, and also one that was removed quite suddenly. There were no warnings about its removal, it just disappeared out the blue. Saying all that though, there is a possibility that you can get this game in Australia, as some people have claimed that the store page is still up there, but I can't confirm this. Also, Russian keys for this game are £19 for some random ass reason. I can't recommend buying one though, because apparently you can get banned for buying keys outside of your country, so if you want to buy it, just be completely aware that Valve can ban you for it. Finally, it's not the only Spider-Man game that suffered this. The original Amazing Spider-Man game also got removed, but due to keys being available in disc copies, you can find them for about £7 for a Europe key. Saying that though, the global keys are still like 116 quid, so it's not cheap outside of Europe, I guess. Spider-Man Shattered Dimension was also removed back in March 2017. That goes for about £120 at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if that price doubles by the end of the year. Next up is another game that is also trash, actually even worse than The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So bad in fact that I'd actually recommend you buy it to first hand witness how bad this game is, and it's the train wreck that is Ride to Hell Retribution. This is easily one of the worst games out there. It does nothing right, so much in fact that it's laughable. It's the Room of video games, and it's also removed from Steam. There's not been a given reason why, but it's fun to think that it was removed due to how bad it is. Removed in September 2014, only a year after its release, keys for this game now go for about 50 quid. So whilst it's not expensive per se, the quality of this game does not make it even close to worth 50 quid. There are games that are less than £1 that are better than this game, and also the price of this game has sort of shot up in the past year. This time last year, this game was going for around about £10, and at the rate that it's going, I wouldn't be surprised if this game will be going for about £150 by the end of the year. So again, whilst it's not expensive compared to what else I'll be talking about, not even close to expensive I would even say, I just wanted to mention the game. Mostly because it's terrible, but if you're looking for a game that's surely to shoot up in price soon, this one isn't a bad choice. Third up is 3 games that I decided to bundle up into one mention because they're all games that are part of the same franchise, and frankly, they're just the same as a whole, except one of them is actually genuinely a bad game, and the other 2 are just okay. And it's 3 James Bond games, those being Quantum of Solace the video game, Bloodstone, and 007 Legends. These were removed way back in January 2013, and honestly, the prices of these games are, let's put it this way, I only know how much you could buy a copy of 007 Legends for, that being either £100 or if you want to risk your account and buy a Russian copy, you can get it for about £5. Why the hell are Russian keys so cheap? Anyway, yeah, I could not find any listings or offers for Quantum of Solace and Bloodstone, and honestly, that's probably because there are most likely only about 20 keys for these games out there, and probably not even that. Hell, there was even someone requesting a copy of Bloodstone way back in 2017 for 1,000 CSGO keys just for a copy. That's £2,000 just for a copy of Bloodstone, and no one responded, and he still has no copy of Bloodstone. Quantum of Solace though, I couldn't find a single topic with a reply for an offer for the game, like, at all. So if someone were to get a key for that game, they could honestly say £2,000 and someone would still try and get it. The 4th game on this list is Adventure Time Finn and Jake Investigations, and what the fuck is this game, you might be thinking? Well, to be completely honest, I don't know what it is, but what I do know though is it's ridiculously expensive to get a key for it, with you being able to buy a key off of a site which, whilst I do not endorse at all, actually I hate it, it does have a lot of listings for games that are now removed, that being G2A, for which you can get this game for the low price of £900. Wow, that's not low at all. Yeah, this is the most expensive game on that site, and by quite a bit, with Saw being second and still being £200 less than this. And that game is way more sought after than this thing. Genuinely, I know very little about this, except the developers lost the license for this game way back in April 2018, and that's kind of amazing considering the price of it now, because fuck me, this price has shot up way quicker than the usual game, and to top that off, this game is actually given a warning for its removal unlike most mentions on this list, but again, who cares about this game? I don't. I just found it funny that it was the most expensive game on G2A for a Steam game, with that price also being the cheapest I could find for this game. Fifth is none other than Shellshock 2 Blood Trails. Yep, we're now back at the god-awful side of games again, as this is easily one of the worst shooters of the 2000s, and that's saying a lot as there were a lot of them. Somehow a sequel to Shellshock 967, this game is nothing like that game, as the first one was a pretty standard if not extreme shooter set in the Vietnam War, and this game is a pretty bog standard shooter set in the Vietnam War, except this time with zombies. Wait, what? Why zombies? What? Yeah, this game sucks completely, and it also mysteriously disappeared from Steam way back in March 2014, and has since now risen to be £300, but that was only from a claim from last year, so honestly, this game could be easily between £400 and £500 right now, and Jesus, this game is not worth it. I genuinely can tell you right now that no matter what, this game is just not worth it. It's ridiculously short, extremely broken, even to the point where it's actually probably removed due to its broken state, and it's just ugly. This is easily one of the worst games of the 2000s, and it's also been forgotten by most people because why the fuck would you want to remember this game? And honestly, I only remember this game existing due to my previous list, which I highly recommend you watch. Someone did mention this game was actually removed from Steam. I didn't even know that until that person commented that, and honestly, I could have probably lived without knowing that, because Christ, this is one of the worst games I've ever played. And due to it being so forgotten, it's probably one of the reasons why this game hasn't risen as much in price as other games removed from this time. But it is still £400 to £500 though, so I guess if you really want, there you go. But I truly cannot recommend more against this game than any other game in this list. Sixth is a game which I have to mention because it's clearly the best game ever made, and well, obviously it's the hit game Barbie Dreamhouse Party, a game so legendary you can get it for the low price of £600. Yeah, this game's a bit of a meme. Like, why the hell is this game a thing? I don't know, but a lot of people actually do want this game. Like, there's way more requests for trading a copy of this game than all 3 James Bond games combined, I mentioned earlier. Though those don't have many requests at all, so I guess it's not a very fair comparison. What can I say about this game though? It's a Barbie game, I guess. It's really nothing special except for being the most manliest fucking game out there. This game is the ultimate flex. No matter what, if you're a Steam collector, a gamer, a goddamn football lover, I don't care. I recommend you buy this game for £600 like I nearly did before it got removed. Well, obviously not for £600, but for £349, which it was before it got removed in April 2016. I've never let that fact really get past me since. It's really affected me emotionally for the past 4 years. Well, anyway, let's move on to the 7th game, which is another pretty big game that is well known, and it's Driver San Francisco. This one is actually quite a well-known removal, so much in fact that there was a petition just last year set up by Nick Robinson asking for its relisting, and that got 115,000 signings, and Ubisoft still never responded to it. And honestly, I don't get this one really. Why was this one removed? I don't know. It was a pretty big release that did relatively well. Sure, there's the possibility of like licensing issues, but Ubisoft has a pretty good track record on renewing or removing the license part of the game. But hey, I guess they just didn't care about it here. Anyway, this game got removed way back in December 2016 with basically no warning, and since then, the game price had shot up to £280 for a Steam key. The words being had because since then the listing has disappeared, so I guess a key for it would now cost about £300. It's also important to note that you can actually buy a Uplay key for about £50, but that's not a Steam key, which is the focus of the entire video, so hey. But as I said, this game's removal is easily the oddest of all the games I'm going to be mentioning today. Most of the games I'm mentioning weren't big games, but this was. It was also a Ubisoft game, who have a pretty good track record with keeping their games on Steam, you know, up until the point they decided to release their games on Epic Games instead of Steam, but here they just never re-added it or even mentioned it. It's almost as if they want to dismiss any mention of this game, and actually going back to the petition, they did respond, but in the most dismissive way, basically saying, and I do quote this as, Driver San Francisco has been delisted for a few years, a number of factors go into evaluating whether to keep a game live, including customer support. And again, I like to remind you, this got 115,000 sign-ins for a game that is about 8 years old at this point, and this reply was at 40,000 signs. So what the fuck, Ubisoft? I don't like how Ubisoft dismissed this at all, and honestly, I'll probably talk about this later at some point in a different video, because honestly, this is a really good game that, whilst £300 is a lot for a Steam key, if I had any money, I wouldn't be too fussed to buy this myself, as I genuinely do like that game a lot, and also I just want to add more to my removed Steam collection, which is admittedly lacking. 8th up is Dirt 2, a game that, believe it or not, is part of a franchise that is not afraid to have its games removed from Steam, so I'd recommend buying the Dirt games if you like to get removed games early, because not only has Dirt 2 been removed, but so has Dirt 3 and Dirt Showdown, but those games were worth about £2 considering the fact they went free during the time they got removed, in late 2016, early 2017, but Dirt 2 on the other hand has been gone for a very long time, being removed way back in late 2013, and also it wasn't given away for free, so it's given the game a lot of space to shoot up in price, and it really has. Buying a key for it now costs around £300, and I mean, to be honest, there's quite a few out there considering how long it's been since its removal, but I mean, if you're not a big Steam collector, I would not recommend buying this game, because this game will not work at all. It's a game that has games for Windows Live implemented, and if you know anything about games for Windows Live, a lot of games with it do not work very well nowadays, and hell, this one is in a much worse state than most other games with this support, as this one refuses to launch for most people. It's really that bad. Also, there's way more Dirt games that have been released since, and to be honest, they're basically the same game but done way better. Finally, my last game I'll be mentioning is a nice one to finish off with, as it's not only a game that's extremely expensive and rare as fuck, but so much in fact that I genuinely will go as far to say that there are no spare keys for both of these games, because it's both the Godfather 1 video game and the Godfather 2 video game. These games have been removed from Steam for so long that I couldn't find anything about this game even being possible to be traded at all. This game has been removed for so long that it was way before the gifting system on Steam was even created. It's been so long that I actually had to use the Wayback Machine to even find out when it was removed, and even then I don't have a concrete date. It was either December 2009 or November 2009, over 10 years ago. This is easily one of the rarest games on Steam. Like, I am doubting there is a AAA removed Steam game that is rarer than this. Like, this genuinely could have even been the first game to be removed from Steam. I could be wrong with that comment, but it's not very far from the truth either, as during this time there weren't very much games on Steam compared to what there are now. I didn't even know this game existed on Steam until researching for this video, and honestly, how would I? I wasn't using Steam until 2013, 4 years after this game was gone. The game themselves, they're fine. They were released when most companies were trying to find their own version of GTA, and this was essentially EA's attempt, using the Godfather movies as an excuse basically, and to me, they're fine, they're okay. I can't say you can buy a Steam copy, but there are PC copies out there, and console copies usually going for about £10 each, but if you want a game based on the Godfather, like, this is fine. But wow, I cannot believe there's an instance of a game being removed from Steam way back before the gifting system existed, like, wow. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video. I love making these types of videos, as I am a massive Steam collector, even if my money situation doesn't allow me to partake in that a lot, but hey, I could talk about it at least. But if you enjoyed the video and maybe want me to make a third part for this, then type it in the comments below and I'll possibly do it. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoyed it, as it really does help me a lot.